Have you ever stopped to think about why it feels like you're always running but never truly reaching where you want to be? Isn't it frustrating to realize that despite doing so much, the results don't match your efforts? The truth is, the problem isn't the time you have, but how you're using it. We live in a world consumed by distractions and empty promises, and without realizing it, we lose focus on what truly matters. And here's something few people have the courage to tell you. The change you're waiting for won't come from outside. It won't be a raise, an unexpected opportunity, or someone's validation that transforms your life. The real transformation begins when you pause, breathe, and look within. That's where the truth, potential, and power to change your path reside. And 2025 can be the year you decide to do things differently. If you're tired of repeating the same mistakes and want to discover a practical, real, and powerful way to live with clarity and purpose, stay with me. In this video, we'll explore simple yet transformative strategies that can change how you see life and, more importantly, how you live it. Are you ready to take the reins and focus on what really matters? No one cares as much as you think. Do you ever feel like everyone is judging you? The truth is, most people are so busy dealing with their own problems that they barely have time to notice yours. Isn't that liberating? Think about that time you gave a presentation and swore everyone noticed your nervousness. The reality? Many were distracted by their phones. This teaches us to relax and live authentically because, at the end of the day, others' opinions don't weigh as much as we imagine. In Buddhism, there's a powerful teaching called anatta, or non-self. It reminds us that our identity shouldn't be built on what others think, but on who we truly are. Instead of spending energy trying to please or impress others, why not redirect it toward getting to know yourself better? Try this. Write down 3 things you love doing and ask yourself if you're living aligned with them. That's authenticity in practice. Living authentically is like wearing that comfortable pair of shoes you always preferred but were too embarrassed to wear to a party. When you realize that people are too busy with their own dilemmas, the weight of judgment disappears. Suddenly, living your truth feels light, almost natural. This raises a new question. If no one is really judging you as much as you think, what's stopping you from taking control and no longer waiting for help from others? Stop waiting for others to help. Hoping someone will come to save the day can be a comforting yet dangerous trap. After all, everyone has their own baggage to carry, and it's not always possible for people to prioritize your problems. It's like trying to share a small umbrella in a storm. It seems noble in theory, but in practice, both end up wet. Ultimately, it's up to you to take care of your own steps and learn to walk even in the rain. In Buddhism, there's a clear teaching about personal responsibility on the path to enlightenment. Buddha didn't promise shortcuts or saviors, but rather a map for each person to find their own way out of suffering. For instance, if you're unhappy with your career, the solution isn't to blame your boss or wait for a promotion to fall into your lap. Change begins with small actions. Updating your resume, learning a new skill, or even exploring different areas that inspire you. Adopting a self-reliant mindset is empowering. It means you alone are responsible for turning your dreams into reality. Sure, it might seem intimidating at first, but think about it. Who knows your desires and limits better than you? Trusting yourself not only strengthens your self-esteem, but also gives you the power to face challenges with greater confidence. But what about distractions? Avoiding unnecessary drama might be the next essential step. Avoid wasting time on other people's dramas. Everyone knows someone who seems to carry a personal storm wherever they go. The problem is that by getting too involved in their dramas, you end up drenched as well. Life is already full of its own challenges. So why drown in the turbulent waters of others? Being present for those in need is valuable, But there's a difference between offering help and carrying the weight of conflicts that aren't yours. Mindfulness practice teaches us that staying present is the key to a balanced life. Instead of getting lost in other people's problems, ask yourself, does this truly need my energy right now? If the answer is no, it's time to redirect your focus. How about spending that time on a walk in the park, an inspiring book, or learning something new? Avoiding drama doesn't mean being insensitive, it's about protecting your inner peace. Setting boundaries is like building fences in your garden. You don't stop others' flowers from growing, but you ensure yours thrive. And remember, saying no can sometimes be the most generous act for others and for yourself. If you struggle with pleasing everyone when you say no, it might be time to realize pleasing everyone is simply impossible. You can't please everyone, so stop trying. The pursuit of pleasing everyone is like trying to balance plates on a stick while running on a treadmill. Sooner or later, something will fall. The problem is that by trying to be everything to everyone, you end up being nothing to yourself. Think about how many times you've said yes when you wanted to say no just to keep the peace. In the end, the price of that peace is your own happiness. Buddhist wisdom reminds us that attachment to external validation is one of the main sources of suffering. Instead of seeking approval, why not seek alignment with your own values? For instance, if someone asks you for a favor that will overwhelm your schedule, reflect, does this align with what I need right now? Answering honestly can be liberating. After all, those who truly love you won't demand that you lose yourself to please them. Living in alignment with your values is like navigating with an internal compass. Yes, some people might be disappointed, but that's part of the journey. What matters is that by stopping the effort to please everyone, you make room to please yourself, and those who truly matter will stand by you. However, life is no bed of roses. And understanding that the world owes you nothing is the next step in this awakening. The world owes you nothing. Believing that the world owes you something is like planting seeds and expecting them to bloom in your neighbor's yard. A frustrating expectation. Life doesn't automatically hand out rewards, even if you're giving it your best. It may seem harsh, but this is the truth that sets you free. The moment you understand that nothing is guaranteed, you begin to act with more strategy and less expectation. Buddhism teaches about impermanence, or anicca, which reminds us that nothing is fixed or predictable. This doesn't mean discouragement, but rather an invitation to focus on what is within your control. For example, instead of waiting for recognition for a project at work, ask yourself, how can I make this project even stronger for myself? What comes after is simply a result. After all, you have greater control over your actions than the outcomes. This perspective changes everything. When you stop expecting the world to be fair or grateful, you start finding strength within yourself. You become the architect of your reality, creating opportunities where you once saw barriers. But even with this emotional independence, painful surprises like betrayals will still happen. And that's what we'll discuss next. People will betray you, even those you trust. Betrayal hurts like a deep wound, especially when it comes from someone you trust. It's inevitable. We are all imperfect, and sometimes people act out of their own interests or weaknesses. But here's the secret. Holding on to that pain only prolongs the suffering. True freedom comes from understanding that betrayal is part of the journey, not the end of it. In Buddhism, detachment is essential. This doesn't mean accepting wrongdoing, but rather not clinging to the resentment that consumes your peace. A powerful practice is loving-kindness meditation, metta, where you wish happiness even to those who have hurt you. Does that sound difficult? Start small. Write a letter you'll never send, releasing the feelings that keep you stuck. Forgiveness isn't about the other person, it's a gift you give to yourself. Building emotional resilience is like crafting a lightweight armor. It doesn't make you insensitive, but protects what's most precious within you. And as you rebuild your trust, remember that true happiness comes from within. This emotional self-responsibility is a reminder that if you don't prioritize yourself, no one else will. If you don't prioritize yourself, no one will. How many times have you set aside your own needs to meet the demands of others? Probably more than you'd like to admit. The problem is that by constantly putting yourself last, you teach the world that it's okay to treat you as an option. Prioritizing yourself isn't selfish. It's the foundation for living a purposeful and balanced life. After all, how can you care for others if you're not taking care of yourself? In Buddhism, self-compassion is a central teaching. It's like the lotus flower, which grows in muddy waters but blooms radiant. Even in chaos, you can thrive when you prioritize your well-being. Start small. Set aside 15 minutes a day just for yourself. Whether it's meditating, going for a walk, or reading something inspiring, this simple act of self-care reminds both the world and yourself that you matter. Setting boundaries is a powerful practice. Think of it as building a wall around your time and energy, allowing in only what nourishes and strengthens you. And when the world tries to convince you that prioritizing yourself is wrong, remember, only those who respect themselves can inspire respect from others. From this point, it's time to look at 2025 as an opportunity to live with clarity and purpose. Now that you've learned these lessons, the question remains, how will you turn this knowledge into action? Life doesn't change with good intentions alone. It's consistent actions that shape our future. Think carefully. Are you ready to step out of your comfort zone and make 2025 the year you take control of your life? Or will you keep repeating the same patterns that hold you back? The choice is yours, and the time to act is now. Look back and reflect on the opportunities you missed because you were distracted or stuck in old habits. How many times have you postponed something important, believing there would be a right moment later? That pattern doesn't have to continue. Today is the day to change that. Don't aim for huge steps right away. Choose one simple, meaningful action you can take today to align your life with your values and goals. The first step is always the most important. It's crucial to understand that progress doesn't come from drastic changes, but from small, consistent actions. Over time, these actions add up and create extraordinary results. That's why you shouldn't underestimate the power of seemingly small decisions in your daily life. Every choice matters, and each step brings you closer to a better version of yourself. If you're committed to your growth and want to keep learning how to live with more purpose and focus, subscribe to this channel right now. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any tips or reflections that could transform your life. Together, we can build a different 2025, where each of us becomes the agent of our own change. Remember, the future begins in the present. The best time to start your transformation is now. So, what will be the first action you take today? Don't put off until tomorrow. What can be done today? The power to change is in your hands. Use it wisely. Let's work together to make 2025 the year of your breakthrough.